All right, everyone, welcome back to another This Week in Photo, live streamed photo critique. This here critique's topic was windows and doors, and however you as the artist chose to realize that creative vision was up to you. So I'm excited to see what folks have come up with when it comes to capturing something as mundane and as everyday as windows and doors. Here to walk through this here photo critique with me is my partner in crime, Mr. Troy Miller, the man, the myth, the legend from down in Southern California. Don't do that. Down in Southern California. I have a button over here. I can just press it.
I know.
It's all over. It's all over.
I just realized I probably wear like the same gray shirt, or like a gray shirt because I got like 20 of these, and like the same hat because I got like 4 of them. And I'm like, what can I do? I got to change it up. So got to be corny. Got to go corny.
Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. You gotta have a signature outfit. You're like a superhero. That's your cape and mask right there. You can't fight crime and critique without the
no capes, no capes,
no capes. You're capeless hero like Spider-Man, and Iron Man and the rest. Okay, so you picked this critique, windows and doors. I think it was a really good one. Are you satisfied with the submissions? Even though our submissions are a little anemic this week for some reason, and people are afraid of windows and doors. I don't know. But what do you think of the crop that we got in? Are you excited at the creativity expressed?
I really am. I got to tell you, I think that a couple of the images in here are probably some of the best images submitted. Like they're at the top. There is amazing imagery in here. We always have really wonderful images, but I think that this really challenged everybody a little bit, and I love it. And it was so challenging, in fact, that I spent like 2 days going through my archives because I didn't have any way to reshoot them. And I thought, I got to have some cool windows and doors somewhere. And I could not find anything worthy to post. So I'm glad I didn't embarrass myself, but it was a tough one.
You live in your house. I've been to your house. You have amazing windows and doors in your house. You could have just aimed your camera somewhere and took a picture and posted it. Why not? You got, wrought iron and steel and aluminum and all the things. Why, come on. It's no excuse.
But I was on vacation. I wasn't at home to photograph it, so I wasn't here. So,
You mean so the location
phone.
that you were on vacation camping, so there was nothing around you camping.
Well, now that you say that, I'm thinking of places I could have. No, I was in a campground. Nobody wants to see the door to the lavatory. I mean, I don't think that would have been. Although,
and you, with 30 years of experience, could not have found a way to make the door to a lavatory interesting.
Vacationing.
Is that what you're saying?
I was vacationing.
So you're saying you don't like photography? You don't like photography. You need a vacation from photography. Is that what you're telling us, Troy?
So how's the weather over there? Like, how's it? Is it raining? It's raining here.
It is not raining. I wish it was raining here. For those that don't know, Troy's in Southern California. I'm in Northern-ish California. Rain. We get it every now and then, but for the most part, it's like a dry bone around here. So, yeah. I went out to Florida a couple of weeks ago. I was where was I? In Tampa to visit Scott Kilby and that crew out there. And it just, whenever I go to a state that's not suffering from a drought, it's just like, wow, look at this green stuff. It's not all beige. It's amazing. But we have other things here. So. All right, let's dive in. Let's dive in to this here critique. Anything to announce before we dive in, Troy? And be ready for the next critique, by the way. So you got it all set?
It's written down right here. You can't read it.
I see nothing. I see a blank sheet of paper that you flashed in front of the camera. Yeah.
You want me to show you? Let's see. Let's see if we can make it. I'll see if I can make it work because I actually wrote it down. Let's see if it works.
No. Wait. I saw something. It flashed. Oh, no.
Camera won't focus on it.
This is like one of those. It's like one of those subliminal commercials from the '80s where you used to flash in, stuff to kind of mind control us.
my Lumix will not focus. Like, it won't focus and hold. It focuses and just like, it just bounces. I have to let go of the focus button quickly.
Yeah.
Gotta install the Nikon.
Your friend, unless you need to hold stuff up to the camera all the time, is just to get your focal plane set, put it on manual, leave it there. It's good. It's all good.
It is on manual. It's way back here. Well,
All right. Anyway, let's dive in. And thanks everybody who's participating in this critique live. I appreciate you. Feel free to, throw your lively banter in there. Hey, it may even make it into the stream and be put on screen if it's something that's tame enough. But without further delay, let's walk through the windows and doors and take a look at what we have here. Let's pass through the portal. Yes.
Of sight and sound.
Keep going. Do you have the rest?
No, I do, but no.
All right, here we go. Let's see who's first up here. It looks like Deborah Cole is first. She says, Bhutan 2019 Fuji X-T3 shot in color and converted to mono. Nomadic home, parents out with the flock, kids at home. Look at this. Wow. Yeah, can you imagine? Wow, this being able to shoot this.
I can't imagine. I mean, I think that what a wonderful photograph this is, and what a great documentary image this is. I love everything about it, and I love what Phil wrote in the comments. He says, "Unfair. You can't have a path to." That's so great.
Yeah,
we just love those leading lines and those paths in there. So compositionally, I love everything about this image. I love the fact that we've got this child in the lower left hand corner, that there's items within the frame that we're not quite sure what they are unless we like look at them, right? Like there's a boot laying on the ground, there's a bag of something on the right. Like, I love all those little elements. The thing that I'm really struggling with is it looks to me like the interior of this dwelling, this cabin, was dodged, and the brightness was brought up inside, and I think that that's a detriment to this image, because we don't need to see behind the child. I think let it go dark, let the shadows go nice and dark in there, and then that child will pop even more. And then I would also probably burn down the road just a little bit. I think that that's a little bit of a distraction. I think it should be more of hey, there's a road or a path over there. So other than that, it's fantastic. Yeah, just some minor dodging and burning.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, 100%. I agree with that. And making that, that was going to be my comment, right? Making our subject, I mean, the whole thing is a subject, right? It's telling the story, but our human subject in this frame, making them pop out a little bit more by pushing that background back some. Yeah, and you're right. It could have been, make it a little bit more mysterious back there, like what's in there, and it sort of drops out to darkness. And then secondly, you also said that road off to the right. I feel like that road, especially based on Deborah's caption, is pivotal, or it's important in this shot, and it feels like it's an afterthought a little bit because it's off to the right there, and our subject is the hut and the child. I think we could have maybe added a little bit more emphasis on that road by panning to the right a little bit, just to let us know, since it's so close to the edge of the frame, we start thinking, oh, it's not really that important because it's so close to the edge of the frame. So pan a little bit right. We could have lost some of this action on the left here, and maybe cut it about, say, right here on this leaning board, and then added a little bit more of this road and surrounding in there, so that we could have a feel for the path and the kid waiting on their parents to come back and all that. And we're cut off a little bit on the roof here too, so we could have maybe panned a little bit right. But other than that, I mean, that's nitpickery, right? But this is a really cool shot. I like it from a lot of standpoints. I'm curious what you think about the processing. So is it? Yeah, I from my own perspective, I think it's spot on for the most part. I like she chose not to have a whole lot of depth and or blackness in the blacks, so they're a little bit not, I guess washed out might be the right word, but it sounds negative. But they're not, the blacks aren't completely black in here intentionally, it looks like. nor the whites, completely white. So it's as a result, it gives it that sort of flat, not popping kind of feel to it. Do you think that adds to it, or and what do you think overall about the processing?
I think the conversion is wonderful. I mean, however you do it, I think the conversion is wonderful. I mean, there's plenty of highlights and shadows in there. We have, I go back to my film days and printing days and the Ansel Adams, like the zone system, which I think is so relevant today, even if we shoot digital. Is you have pure black and pure white, and there is that in this image. You got the highlights in the back coming through. You got the deep dark shadows. You even got a couple areas where the shadows go, totally black. And I think that that's a really good indication of a good conversion. A lot of times when you do a conversion from color, you can get kind of a flat look. One thing I would like to add to this image, I think that, everybody, take a moment and like hold up a hand and block off that road. And as much as we like the road and we like the path, I really think that this image is incredibly powerful and probably more powerful without that road. So
Oh, interesting.
something
Oh,
to
so
something to
you would
consider.
lose the road
Yeah.
completely? Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, as I remove it, I'm like, yeah, because here's the thing for me. Like my brain wants to go down that road. And I think I'm looking at the road as much or more than I am at the child because I want to
Right.
see what's at the end of the path. And that's what paths do, leading lines, that's what they do for us. And so as soon as you block that path, wow, all I look at is the child in the doorway, and then the stories, and then the understanding, and then the space that they're in and everything. So,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, an extension of the conversion comment. Good conversion.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. That's good. I like it. Very nice. All right, Deborah Cole, thank you for sharing that. Very cool. All right, up next. Oh yeah, here's Phil's comment here. All right, up next is Paolo. Paolo says, "La señal que estabas esperando." Hopefully, I got it right. And that translates to, I'm guessing, the signal you were waiting for, taken on the New York ferry. Perhaps the girl was waiting for her love's message to appear on her phone, on a phone screen. This sign at right side to the girl is not quite readable. Okay, let's bring this up. All right, yeah, and just like what you were saying earlier, or one of us was saying earlier about how the subject in the frame, we're automatically going to look for human forms, and I think we're gravitationally or genetically bound, let's say, to look at human faces and find them even when there are
Right.
none, and words. We have to go to words and see what what are these words saying. So there's words in here, of course, what Paolo said in the caption there, and then we've got our girl looking at her phone. There's another mysterious figure sitting out here on the deck. It looks like actually two. I think personally, I would have maybe killed these, pulled them out of there, so that we weren't kind of wondering what they were doing there, and made it a little bit more mysterious. I would have loved to have seen the ocean continue all the way through there to give us a feeling of solitude for this person that's writing to her love or whatever on this ferry. That way we could focus on her directly, and the words back there, you know. I don't mind the words, even though I don't speak that language. But I don't mind the words, especially with the caption to support it. It gives me a better idea of what's happening in the shot. I was for a minute. I was looking. Well, do the oranges, kind of the brownish oranges in there? Do we really need those colors in there to pull it out? And I feel like we do. I'm curious what you're going to say, Troy, but I feel like those dominant orange, bold, brownish orange colors in here kind of give me more of a feel for what this ferry is all about, and kind of the weathered look of those seats. Looks like they've been painted a couple of times, right? And the weathered windowsill, all those colors kind of work together to kind of pull me into the scene, and I kind of dig it. But what are your thoughts?
Yeah, everything you said. Yeah, I love that. I do appreciate this in color, mostly because
Mm-hmm.
we have this competing contrast. You have the cool tones of the sky and the open shade light, which is reflecting in the window, and then you have that warm tone of the bench and the wall and stuff. So I think that's a really wonderful play on color. That's a great way to start. So I really see three photos in this photo. I see three, and so first off is like if we keep the windows, like I like the people in the middle window, I would just burn them down. I don't know that I
Mm.
would take them out. And to speak specifically to Paulo, I know that he doesn't like to do a lot of Photoshop, but some burning could really help this image, like you said, de-emphasizing those people would be really nice.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
what I would say is, like, for this photo, I would crop off the door that we have on the far left. I don't think we need that door, and I think that it's a little busy down there with that door. So I would
Mm-hmm.
crop that off, and then right away I think that it makes it about these three windows. So we've got that sort of threes, which are really nice. Makes this really powerful. And then the next crop that I would do is I would come in and I would make it square. And I would crop off the two left windows and have just the girl in the frame, the diagonal. I like the leading lines that are there. I think that's really super powerful. So, and then the other crop would be just cropping off the last window.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Like
I
right
think
here.
that yeah, I think there's something to be said for her with these other sort of like stranger forms in the background. They all have like little different messages. Uh, However it's presented, I really do enjoy this, and I think that it's a wonderful representation of Windows, and a good example of like Paolo's vision. How he
Yeah.
sees the world, photogenically. So
Yeah, yeah, no, yeah, 100%. I agree. I agree with that. And yeah, this area on the left here, that's an area of, I guess, what we call high frequency. There's a lot of data going on in there, and we kind of get,
right,
like we like to say, we get trapped in this little eddy on the side right over here because we're trying to figure out, our brain's trying to figure out what's going on with the perspective and what that door is and why it's there and all that stuff. But if you eliminate that, then you eliminate those questions. I didn't even think about what you were saying. Like, I would like to do a square crop right here makes a whole lot of sense because then it becomes more graphical, because then you reduce the elements down to just the bare minimum: our subject, reflective glass, and then the frame that she's looking through for the most part. I would love to see a crop like that, Paolo, and then also down a different crop with the second window in there, kind of giving us kind of the leading line action, and putting, and if you did crop down there, kind of naturally puts our subject at one of the rule of thirds intersections right here. So I'd love to see that too. All that to say, Paolo, like you said, is not much of a Photoshop, let's manipulate the image in post kind of photographer, which I definitely respect. So, that may be heresy to Paolo's ears, all this cropping nonsense we're talking about. So, but that's the sport, right? If the sport that you choose to play in photography is get it right in camera and let's see what I got. If I didn't get it, then I didn't get it, right? Or if I got too much, then I got too much, or whatever. That's part of the game. So yeah, I'm excited. Looks really cool.
yeah, I
All
love it.
right. Yeah, very cool. Very cool. I love this color too. I might have to sample that color. All right,
That's that
Paolo.
orange.
Thank you
That's
so much.
that. What is that? That's the cyan and magenta, or the orange and green,
Orange and
or whatever
teal.
it is.
The orange and
Orange
teal.
and
Yeah,
teal.
or
Yeah, I
the
was trying to find that word,
yeah.
teal. Yeah, but there, but
Yeah.
but it's because it works, right? Like in nature, there it is, and it's not contrived. I love that. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love it so much. I mean, look at my background here, right? I mean, I got the, where is it? Where is it over there? Yeah, orange
I don't,
gel,
I don't,
blue gel.
I don't see anything. I don't see it. It's not there.
You know, you're not seeing nothing. Yeah, 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 whatever.
Your
Yeah,
light's
whatever.
turned off.
Yeah, no, it's not. I worked on that. Oh, don't get me started on my lighting adventure story over the weekend. Oh my god. Let's just say I have some original version 1 ice lights back there that are probably a decade or so past their prime. Let's just say that. We'll leave it there. All right, moving right along down here to Peter Levshin. And all he says is China. China.
Yeah. Wow.
All right, look at that. This could be taken at any point in history, right? We have no idea. Ooh, this is a great shot. I like it.
Yeah.
I'll let you go first. What are your thoughts?
Um, First and foremost, this is an epic photo. I love nearly everything about it. I think that it is just wonderful, and it just has so many elements. It's simple. The tonality of the black and white is really wonderful. I think that it leads us in like it's supposed to. We've got our wonderful composition. We've got this negative space in the window that just creates this really dramatic mystery. We've got our brightest point is the cigarette, which really draws us in, and then we have the face, and then we look at its space around him. We don't really have any perfectly perpendicular, horizontal, vertical lines. Everything is a little wonky, you know. Even the expression on this guy's face is a little bit distraught, so many good storytelling elements in there. I love this so much. The only thing that I would suggest, the only thing is I would probably trim off the left and right just slightly, maybe half or maybe 30%, and that's it. I think it's great. It's timeless, right? You could say that this was shot by like Vivian Mayer, and be like, yeah, I get it. Like, okay, cool. It could be that. Like, we don't know.
Yeah, I agree. It's 100% timeless, which is, and leaning into that, the choice of going black and white with this. Love the processing, really cool. When I first saw this shot, you know what I thought of? Working from home. That's the shot. As in caption, this would be one of those motivational posters, the working from home and enjoying stuff or whatever. No, I like it. I like the contrast of it, of the kind of abyss behind our character and the placement of our character in the lower left of that frame within a frame. So he's kind of in the rule of thirds intersection of that inner frame there. The tension of the windows being open, and then the distressed wall and the kind of, water stains underneath the windowsill there. All of it kind of works together to, like you said, it just becomes completely timeless. This could have been taken yesterday or 50, 100 years ago, whatever. It's totally interesting. And like what you said about just sort of the wonkiness of the lines in here work to its advantage. Even the perspective of the photographer not being completely straight on and perpendicular to the window, just kind of slightly off kilter to the right, adds just the right amount of interest back in here, so you don't feel like, oh, the photographer wanted to get this at this perpendicular angle and make sure all the angles were right or whatever. It almost looks like street photography. Well, it is, it's photojournalism, street photography, where it's taken kind of matter of fact. I just happened to look over and see this guy. I snapped the picture and did a little post-processing on it. And boom, at the end, I have this really cool image. So, yeah, I like it. It's multiple shots in one. I do agree with you, though. Do you think this could have gone square by taking a little bit off the left and a little bit off the right, just to push it to square?
Yeah, I think that would be really neat to do, because it would be really hard for somebody to not believe that it was shot a long time ago, right? Like on a Hasselblad or something like that in a square format. Plus, I'm more of a minimalist. I just want distraction, so cropping that off and bringing us in just a tiny bit. But yeah, absolutely. I think square would be really powerful.
Yeah, I agree. By the way, you froze for just a second there, and then your audio came back and played through while you were just sitting there. So it looked like, I don't know. Let's not tempt the fates and let them know what's going on, so they can end the stream on us. But cool. Yeah. Very cool shot. And this was Peter. Yeah, wow. Peter is always full of surprises. Like I've seen a range from Peter that you don't see from a lot of photographers. Everything from like, I don't know, artistic nudes in the desert to tribes living in Mongolia or wherever he was traveling to shots of the Australian outback, to this kind of shot in China. It's really interesting. Peter's like the Forrest Gump of photography. He's just in all these all these situations all the time. So, really
he's an image hoarder. That's what he is.
Is he? There it is. Yeah. Well,
he has a lot of
worst things to hoard. Worst things to hoard. All right. Speaking of Australia, Craig Stampfli's up next. Windows. Look at that. So again, like in contrast to Peter's shot, where he wasn't leaning into the architecture of the shot intentionally, clearly our photographer here Craig Stampfli is leaning into the architecture. He wants us to look at the lines and the perfection, and in some cases imperfection of how these lines are laid out and the colors. I love it. Right, this the graphicalness. Even his choice of the thick border on there to kind of play into these thick lines within the shot itself. Really, really cool. Really cool choice. What say you?
No, I agree. I'm looking at it for artifacts. I don't know. It looks like there's artifacts in the sky along the edges of the white, but I don't know if that's just the way that it's streamed or whatever. But that being said, stepping back and looking at this, I think this is just a wonderful, wonderful piece of art about architecture. And my favorite thing about the whole image is this diagonal shadow that's running through as you have all these vertical and horizontal lines. So I don't know if like Craig saw that on purpose, but that's like my favorite thing about this whole image is that we got this
He had to
this
see that
horizontal.
because it's like
Yeah.
it's almost perfect on the corners, almost, but not quite. Almost probably intentionally, not exactly going into the corners.
Yeah, it's really, really, really cool. And I love that, that's in there as sort of like a little secondary hook. I appreciate the fact that it's basically monochromatic except for the blue sky. So there's just so much that we can look at this image and really draw ourselves into it. So I would say, kudos to Craig. I don't know what I would do differently. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I don't know that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it's fantastic as well. I love to see this one in a series. Right, this is another one I feel like would be an awesome triptych of another
Right.
two other sister photographs to this, just kind of hanging out on the wall, all with the same border and all that. Very nice.
And this is not easy to shoot. I mean, I think that a lot of times, we look at images that are simple and powerful, and we're like, oh yeah, that's a cool shot of a building. Uh, this may be like a little sliver of a building across the street, shot with a long lens that you most people don't see that. Like you have to have your eyes open and be paying attention. So, um,
Hmm.
you know,
Yeah,
bonus points for seeing it.
yeah. Look at Trevor. Trevor in the chat has an interesting comment on this shot. Trevor says, "I would have actually rotated it 90 degrees to the right to make it completely abstract." That would have been interesting as well, right? Because then it really would have fooled our brains of like, where's the light coming from, and why is the sky in the lower right hand corner and all that. What do you think? You think that would have been effective to rotate it?
Yeah, I mean, look, you could rotate this thing any direction, and I think you're still going to find pleasing elements in there, right? I mean, that's the wonderful thing about this image is that you could do whatever you want with it, and you could almost make it believable, right? Like, oh, it's the sky on the right next to the building, and you could do a lot with it. So, yeah, yeah, I
Yeah,
agree. You could do
yeah,
you could do a lot. Yep.
yeah. This is one of my favorites. It feeds into my whole I don't know, neat freak self. you know?
Yeah,
Tidy tidiness. I love tininess and symmetry and straight lines. But
yeah.
then
There's no
sometimes I don't.
cables hanging out anywhere.
No, yeah. Are you talking about my office with the
I'm
cable, my
not.
cable
I would
management
not
issue?
bring.
You are.
I wouldn't.
You talking
I
about
would
my cable
not.
management issue? I know you are.
I'm cable shaming you.
That's all right. I will solve this. It's baby steps. All right. Thank you, Craig Stampfli. Appreciate you. That was awesome. All right. Scrolling down in the community. Up next is Rick Kilboy. Says, seen better days. And he chose a square crop for this one. Very cool. All right.
Wow.
What do you think?
Um, I'm drawn to urban decay. I think a lot of us are, and I really, really like these type of scenes. Where I'm struggling with this, and I hate to compare images to images, but like if you look at Craig's image, it's so simple and it's so easy to kind of get into. Where I think the problem here is that we just have too much. There's too many things going on. I wish that he had just picked like one window or one door and stuck with that. I like the shadows on the right with the steps or the ladder and the shadows coming to the bottom. Like I like that's kind of my favorite. I think there's just too much going on. I would have a hard time picking a scene out of this, but maybe just vertical with that vertical window and door.
Yeah, yeah, maybe. And the ladder over there is interesting too, because it kind of leads off the frame, and we start wondering where it's going. But it's kind of obscured with the patterns of the brick behind it. I agree. Yeah, and this kind of area of shadow at the top too is kind of bringing us up there as well. And we have another sliver at the bottom down here. So what I again take all these critiques with a grain of salt, right? This is all completely subjective. But when I look at this, I think, okay, where's my subject? Of course, the whole thing could be the subject, right? No one's saying that. But when I look at it, I think, okay, what does the artist want me to look at? Or do they just want me to take in the decay of this facade in its entirety? But when I do that, I get trapped in all these different little areas in there that could be interesting in and of themselves. Like this window here with the anti-pigeon spikes on there, right? And just the distressed look of just this wall, or this broken glass on this pane up here. Maybe that would have been interesting to kind of focus in on, with the intact pane on the left and then the broken one on the right. That would have been an interesting kind of window story right there. And like I said, this ladder on the right side is interesting, as well as this little, I guess this is a trellis or a fire escape landing right here, with the shadows that it's casting underneath. That looks interesting if you were just to do just a crop of just this bit down here. I don't know. Or even over here, the shadows with this grid kind of casting on this side of the wall and then blank on the left side. That would have been interesting as well. So there's a number of pictures in here that, for me, that together they become weaker because I'm not sure where to look, but separately they become stronger, because now I know, okay, this is like, if he's going to do a vertical crop of just this doorway right here, I know what he's trying to tell me. The photographer is saying, hey, look at this doorway and the abyss on the left side, and then the distressed door on the right, and all the things. So I don't know. That's kind of where my brain goes when I look at this. I get lost in there, and there's a number of little narratives that are almost competing against each other in this shot. You agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is one of those kind of scenes that I would have photographed, and I would have decided later that how I'm going to crop it. Like if you just can't decide, right? Like you're creatively constipated at that moment, and you're like, there's too much. Just shoot it, right? Just shoot it and then crop it later. Like we have the resolution to do that. But anytime that there's too many elements going on and there isn't a single focus, that gets very distracting for the viewer. So unless that's your intent, right? Like I'm not saying you can't do this. I just think that it's harder to follow.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I just put in the chat here, I had to draw a flag around, you coined the phrase creative constipation. So I marked it as a quote. So
yeah,
I hear you.
Thing.
Yeah,
it's a real thing.
It is. It definitely is. All right. Really cool. And that was Rick. Thank you, Rick. Appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Yeah, Rick, go back and just crop. Just play with tons of crops.
Yeah. If you have the resolution, right? Because if you don't have the resolution, but then you could always increase the resolution with Topaz Gigapixel AI or something like that. All right. And play with some black and white with that too. That'd be interesting to see just the patterns and the abstracts out of that.
Right.
All right. Phil Lewenthal's up next. He says open door policy. What were you expecting? Really? Yeah. All right. Phil using his superpowers. For those that are not Lewenthal initiated, Phil is the master of long exposures of typically ocean water we see, or the coastline up there near where he lives. And he's leaning into that. It looks like, Phil, did you travel into a cave and actually set up your tripod in there at low tide, and you waited for high tide so that you could get this shot? I love this. So on this shot, love the symmetry of it. Obviously intentional symmetry. I love the chaotic nature of the water kind of flowing in there, and the border. The border is it really feels like the border itself makes me feel like I'm looking through a portal or a window into this chaotic scene, which is kind of cool. Would I change anything? I don't know. These kind of abstract long exposure shots, uh, I don't know. I love them, and I give them a lot of latitude in here. I think if I was to change anything, I think the shadow areas at the top, these rock formations, I'm kind of losing them a little bit, and I'd be interested to have a little bit more detail in there, so I know what they're all about, and you have a little bit more sense of place up there. But other than that, I'm curious to hear what you say, Mr. Miller.
Yeah, I've been doing some cropping. I've been cropping the image. Yeah, cropping.
And you're doing your
Um,
cropping thing, yeah.
yeah, I'm doing my yeah, dude. I do this don't yeah, just do it. Like get in there and crop and be like this one and like okay, right there. Um, so I love Phil's work, but Phil, where I'm challenged with this is I don't really feel drawn into it. I don't really feel a direct subject. I feel like everything kind of has the same attention. And what I'm really drawn to really is like the opening, right? Like where the water is coming through. So what I'm thinking is cropping in a lot tighter, like a lot tighter around the opening. So then you've got the highlight, which makes you feel like you can pass through it and come to out the back side. You've got the shadow in the foreground, which makes you feel like you're in the darkness of the tunnel, and then you can work your way through. I don't know that all this water in the foreground is really an element that's like a good subject that's drawing me and that's attractive. I think everything is in that opening, the window, if you will. So, I
Hmm.
mean, I love the concept. I just think I just think we have too much else going on. So, give it a try. I
Yeah,
just play with it. It's a tough image. It's a tough image to figure out.
yeah, and even a play on the
So,
shadow
yeah,
here that's being
nice.
cast out here. This shadow up top, in within the opening. Maybe there's, depending on how you process this little area up here, just to kind of bring that out and accentuate what's going on. It gives us a little bit more sense of place of how this water is placed and the rock obscuring the sun and all that. So yeah. Again, you could totally
Yeah.
get abstract with this. And this line here, I love this crisp line of the opening, the jagged line right
Hmm.
there. It's really really interesting. All right.
Yep.
All right. And it could be Eric. Yeah, Eric is next. Eric Pronske says dilapidated door and window, image taken while walking the streets of Antigua, Guatemala. Yeah, I like this. I like this shot a lot. See, simplicity.
Yeah.
It's just the simplicity of it.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's really wonderful. I love the colors in this. This is like super cool. Like this is one of those images where colors are definitely helpful. I think you could do 50-50 here. Like I think you could go black and white and you get another powerful image out of it. Um I I don't I'm struggling with the fact that the doors and the window they're so far apart from each other. I feel like they're crowding the edges. I kind of want more space around them.
Hmm.
Um but I love it. I mean, it's like it's a street photo, and I dig that. I dig the number 46 over the door. I don't know what that means. I don't know where that's at. Like, I love that. That's like my favorite part is this random red door with a number over the top.
Yeah, yeah. I agree. There's not much about this shot that I would change. I do agree with you. You know how I am about the things being close to the edge of the frame here. So I might do a content aware move and drag this guy off to the left there a little bit to decrease the space in the middle if I was going to change anything. I was on the fence about the sidewalk in the front, and if I would cut that out of there. I don't think I would. In fact, I might even add a little bit more down there just to give it a little bit more padding, a little bit more space to draw us into the door a little bit more. Other than that, not much. I mean, you could play around with making that door pop out more, but other than that, I like it. I really like it, just like it is. It's really, really interesting. And this plays into your love of urban decay, right? Right there. This is
Yeah.
definitely
I,
decayed.
I was gonna say my only other suggestion would be to do some dodging and burning to bring out the door. Like burn the wall down. You've definitely got dead center between the two, the door and the window. You've got a bright spot. Try to bring everything else down and create a layer of light even though it's flat, you can create a layer of light that goes through this image, starting with the door, then the walls, then the window. That would really help a lot. Is creating that layer,
Yeah,
create that depth. Yeah.
really cool. And no border on this shot. You think it could have benefited from a border, or is it good without?
Well, of course, every image can benefit from a border. You got to finish the image. I mean, come on.
Oh, man, you're
Don't
like
just
my
let it.
uncle. My
Don't just
uncle
let
used
it
to say,
hang there.
my uncle used to say, everything can benefit from hot sauce. Just put it on there.
Fair
It makes,
enough.
it makes
Fair
everything
enough.
better. Oh my god. Yeah. I'm gonna leave it right there. I'm gonna leave it right there. But cool shot. I like this. Thank you, Eric Pronske. Very nice. And folks, remember to if you're watching this either on the replay or live right now, be sure to like and subscribe to the TWIP YouTube channel so we can grow this here puppy larger. I appreciate you if you do that. And even if you don't. Karen Sweeney's up next. She said this one is The Follower. Look at this. Yeah, this should be part of a caption contest. Like, all I have to do is get these tourists inside, and we're good. Yeah, yeah,
I
this is cool.
know.
So,
I know.
all right,
That's
what do you think? So we've got our portal in the middle of the shot. Remember, the title of this critique was Windows and Doors. I think we've put a check mark in that. What do you think of it compositionally and processing wise?
I I like the image. I like the processing. It's got a really weird optical illusion going on. Is that it feels like the left side of the image is taller than the right side of the image. I don't know if you get that same sense. It looks like
Yeah,
a trapezoid.
totally.
The block wall, yeah, the block wall is completely messing with my head. So I love the fact that it does that. Um, I think we have a really great image here. I think where I'm struggling just a little bit is one of two things. Is one, there's people in it. I think the door would be better without people. Um, but since we have people, what I would like to see is some more tonal control, right? Some dodging and burning, like bring down the blocks in the foreground a little bit, bring down the wall a tiny bit more, the floor, focus, get us to draw into to kind of like drain, if you will, into the doorway,
Yeah,
with doing some dodging and burning and stuff on that. But yeah,
yeah.
what a cool play.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree too. The cropping in a little bit on this too. I mean, you got to make a choice, right? Is it about the door? I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence. I kind of like it with the people in there because it gives us that mystery, the air of mystery of like, where are they going? What's in there? I want to go in there and see what's going on. Or you could build up some sort of narrative, like the guy in the back is mafioso and he's taking them in there to explain why they haven't paid their debt yet or something, right?
I'm just thinking, I'm just thinking it's like a museum or something, and I'm like, damn, now there's three more people in there. I have to walk around. Like,
Yeah, humans, they're everywhere. They're everywhere.
yeah, the
Yeah,
title though
and then that.
too.
Go ahead.
Oh, I mean, the title is really wonderful because it really tells us, what the artist is trying to convey here, right? Like the artist leaned into the fact that there's people there, the followers. So, I respect that a lot. If it didn't have a title, I might be more inclined to be like, I'm not sure where the artist wants me to see the door, the people. But the title helps a lot. So I like that. I
Yeah,
like that a lot.
yeah. I think if I was going to take anything out of this shot, I think if we want to leave the people in there, I think I would take this little bar right here, this little pipe, whatever this thing
Yeah.
is. I would pull that out of there because it's kind of, yeah. Of course, the people are dressed modern, so they automatically let us know that this is a relatively recent photo. But this bit right here, I think, is out of place with all this ornate, kind of this beautiful brickwork and this archway here and these beautiful cubes on the ground. And then you got this thing that we kind of stuck there. Looks like it's one of those pop up traffic control things so people can't drive their car in here or something. But
I saw a
right? Like they
turret.
have government facilities. Yeah, I would probably fill that out of there, get rid of it. All right. Trevor's saying he's getting audio dropouts. If anybody else is having audio issues, please let us know. But we're coming into the end of this thing here, so hopefully it will stay put. And I don't think those audio dropouts will show up on the replay. Hopefully, knock on wood. Right. Thank you, Karen Sweeney, for that shot. And I think I'll reload at the end of this. Actually, let me reload now to make sure that we are not missing out on anybody. Yeah. That's right. All right. Oh, yeah. See? Show more. See? We'd have missed gems if I hadn't reloaded. You see that? See? All right. Nora Znotinas is up next. Nora says, the red door. Main door of the Potala Palace in Lhasa, Tibet. Moving the braided prayer flag sends the prayers for a long life of good fortune. Let's take a look. Let's see if it loads.
Like taking the red pill or the blue pill?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Let's see if
it doesn't want to load for me either. Yeah,
Huh.
I thought that was really weird.
Huh. Oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
Well, let's look at it right here. Let's look at it right here. There you go.
Yeah.
Let me drag this. I wonder if let me save this. I'm going to go ahead and save it, see if I can open it that way. Well, let me save it.
There we go. Just speaking to the image while you're doing that. Did you get it? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I got it.
I love the image, Nora. I think. Okay, good. I think that you have such a wonderful eye for capturing these kind of things. The silhouette of the individual in there, and then just the light falling on that braid, I just think is wonderful. I think that, to me, that's like my favorite part of the whole thing. I would crop it, however. I would crop the hinge bracket or whatever that is across the top, and just have door, and then the pull, and then the braid, and then the person. So I would eliminate the top so that it simplifies any kind of distract textures, and then I think you have a perfect image. I think it's just fantastic. Way to go.
Yeah, I love the silhouette. I love the silhouette of the person, and the fact that our subject's hand is illuminated right where it makes contact with this rainbow colored thingamajigger.
Right.
And yeah, you're right. This bit at the top here, I think we could probably crop right here, right? Just crop us in, make this kind of area right here. Like, we don't even need all of her or him or whoever that is in there. Just cropping right in tight like that, just so that the story becomes about this ornate sort of doorknob, the hand reaching out, the colorful rocker there, right. And then just enough of the person to know that it's a person belonging to that hand reaching in. And we have a much stronger image, because all these pixels up here aren't really doing us justice, and we get a little muddled down in this lower left-hand corner. So it's not really doing us a whole lot of help to have all these extra pixels in here. But if you crop in a little bit, then it becomes more obvious what we're looking at. So yeah, I love it. Very cool. All right, so I'm going to bring us back into Chrome. Here we go. Look at that, on the fly, making stuff happen. All right, thank you, Nora, for this shot. And then last but not least,
I cannot get Jim's image to load.
Jim's won't load either? Huh, what's going on? Huh. It may be something's going on with circle.so. So we'll give Jim the same treatment. Jim Peters, put him on the desktop. I'll open that up, and we'll just share that.
Oh yeah, save image as.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm doing the same thing. I can see it a little bit bigger, because otherwise you can't see it.
Right. Okay, so what are we looking at? We have a kind of a triptych layout here. We haven't seen this before in a submission. 3 photos in 1 photo that are maybe telling a cryptic story here, Jim Peters. What's going on? What are you doing here? Now I feel like I need to decipher this puzzle. What is he saying? I don't know. What do you think? What do you think of this? Like, his layout of 3 images on the frame, and give us your thoughts.
Jim, I love you. I got to be honest, but I do not dig it. I okay. So here's part of the problem is being an image competition judge. The one thing that I really struggle with is anytime anything is on a lot of white, because that white is so bright. We're on these monitors and the white is so bright. And so it just really washes out your images, and I just don't think that it does them justice. And I think you have three amazing images that on their own I would love to see presented, but
Mm-hmm.
they I don't get what they're doing here. They don't really tie together. I don't know if this is all the same place, like a historical place of significance. Like I don't get it, right? Like just as the layman, like the viewer, like I don't understand what I'm looking at. So
Mm-hmm.
for me, it it's like like there's text missing, right? Like it's an article and there's no text, and I don't know what I'm looking
Mm.
at. So
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
point,
Everything you said, I agree.
kudos for for trying and throwing it together, and maybe the vision just didn't communicate well to me. But I can tell you, just looking at the images, my favorite images is the image to the right, is the window within a window.
Mm-hmm.
um
Yeah.
I love that. I would love to just see that image. That would be great, just that
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, we kind of get lost in here, Jim, as to what you want us to look at. Jim, to his credit, in the chat, he's watching us, and Jim says the layout was a bit of indecision. Yeah, so there was no sort of underlying narrative to putting these three images together. It was just I'm not sure what to put up there. So that said, yeah, I agree with you, Troy. The one on the right is probably the one that I would gravitate to. Although this one down here is pretty interesting as well. So a shot within a shot, the window within a window, and it's almost like a terrarium kind of thing going on in here with this shot. So this one is also very interesting. In fact, all three are interesting, cropped in a different way. This one on the upper left, I may have cropped it kind of like this, you know, maybe a little bit off so that window is a little bit not exactly centered, maybe something like that. So then we just see all the brick in there. I'm not sure. Yeah. So yeah, indecision and lack of narrative on this one because we're not sure what to look at and where to look and what the artist is trying to tell us. So
Yep.
all
Yep.
right.
Good images though.
Yeah. Thank you, Jim Peters, for that. All right, Troy. So do you have a favorite of all
I
these
do.
shots today? You
I
do?
do.
All
Yeah,
right.
I
I'm
have
gonna
a
let you
favorite.
pick it. I'm gonna let you pick it. I'm gonna keep my mouth shut. You tell me what your favorite is. I have a
Um,
feeling I know already though.
so while you were kind of wrapping up there, I was looking through the images again. So my favorite image is Peter's image, and the reason that out of all the other great images that I picked that one is I don't. There's really nothing wrong with this image. There's nothing that I could improve really in the image, and also, it's timeless. It's super timeless, and it doesn't really matter what era that you look at this. And the window is a character. Like the window has to play. The problem that I have with, and I really love Nora's, but the problem is that it's not clear that it's a door. This could be a wall. This could be anything. There's no evidence that this is a door. And so with the topic of the critique, like I was like, I love the red. I love the braid. I love the lighting, but I don't see a door. I see a wall. And so some of the other ones, we talked about some of the things that were in there. So
Hmm.
that was my pick.
Yeah.
That was my pick. So
Yeah, I agree. I was kind of oscillating between Peter's shot and Craig's shot, to be honest with you. I really like the graphic feel of this one. Like
I
this
do
one's
too.
maybe it's the colors and I don't know, the simplicity of it kind of speaks to me. But the other one, the Peter shot, also spoke to me from a different visual language. So really cool. Really cool. So
Yeah.
congratulations. So we will anoint Peter as this week's critique favorite, right there with his shot. What did he say? Did he give us a caption on this? Just China, China. That's it. Very cool. All right. What's our
Just as
what's our
China.
topic for next week? Do you have one?
The topic for next week, if you didn't get it in the beginning, is morning routine. Morning
Morning,
routine.
like Morning or Mourning?
Like sunrise, morning. When you wake up in the
Okay.
morning, like something that has to do with your morning routine. It could be, a walk. It could be a cup of tea. It could be, just a pair of socks on the floor. Like I think that, it could be a lot of things. But I hope that it conveys when you look at it that, oh, this is the morning somewhere for somebody, right? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
so yeah, the morning routine. So it's kind of broad, so you can kind of interpret that however you like.
Oh yeah, I mean that's very broad. I mean you could have it, you could go as literal as just showing someone waking up or whatever, but then you could go detailed and do macro shots of different things that evoke unexpectedly even the that morning routine. We all have morning routines, right? So what are some common
Right.
things that we would know from this era? Like in eras gone by, it would have been like, oh, feet on the side of the bed and putting the slippers on as you
Slippers.
walk. Yeah, but no one does that anymore for the most part. Yeah. So, what is today's analog to that? Or we challenge you to come up
I
with
know what it
something
is.
completely. What is it? What
It's
is it?
waking up and going,
Oh
looking
yeah,
at your phone. You're like, who?
yeah, yeah, yeah. You wish you were holding your phone that close in the morning.
uh, I know, I know. It's
Troy,
more like,
Troy's like,
yeah,
who is this? Trying to.
yeah.
Oh
Oh,
yeah. Yeah, whatever. Yeah. Hey,
it's true.
everybody will be here eventually. All right, cool. So we'll do that critique. Morning routine that will be on Monday, September 25th at noon U.S. Pacific time. We will live stream that puppy and see what you guys come up with. So, and if you're not a member of the TWIP community, in order to participate in these critiques, you got to be a member of the TWIP community. So go ahead and do that. If you're not already, just jump over to join.thisweekinphoto.com. And we hope to see your images next week. Troy, any final thoughts before we shut this critique off?
Just go out and be a good human. Yeah, be a good human today. It's a good day to be a good human. Being 9/11 and all. So spread
All
some
right.
love.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Yeah, today is September 11th, which is a day that will live in infamy in the United States, much like January 6th. So we will leave that right there. And Troy Miller, thank you so much for helping co critique this again and your never ending cornucopia of critique topics that just floweth out of you. I don't know where they come from, but they floweth all
Crop,
the time.
crop, crop,
And the crop everything, crop it, put a border on it, make it infrared, ship it. That's it.
crop it. Black and white. Add grain.
Yeah, I
Done.
love it. I love it. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for hanging out for this critique with us. And the folks who joined us live, a special thank you to you. And the folks, especially the folks in the community that submitted their images for us to critique and levy our hopefully qualified criticism on. All right. So with that, we'll leave it on that note. Folks, go out and have a great week. And for those of you that are in the community, we will see you on Friday for our weekly member mixer. Otherwise, take care and knock them dead. Take some pictures. Take care, everybody.